Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing one of the twin pillars of the IWC Schaffhausen manufacture, and it is the Portuguese Automatic. You're looking at reference 5007-04. 42.3 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. It's one of the easiest oversized watches to wear, and the IWC Portuguese was the original oversized watch. The gigantic reference 325 bowed back in 1939 when the Portuguese distributors of IWC demanded a wristwatch with the precision of a pocket watch. Back then it was either big with a pocket watch movement or small with a wristwatch movement. Bigger was better for precision's sake in the 30s, and so the Portugieser was born. And whether you call it the Portugieser in the lingua franca of Schaffhausen, which is actually German, or you call it the Portuguese in English, the effect is the same. It's the original oversized watch and one of the few truly oversized dress watches that gives up nothing in elegance or presence. It doesn't feel like many oversized dress watches, which can come across as a goof. This has authenticity and integrity. Now, of course, you're either an IWC pilot guy or a Portuguese guy. Even if you love both of them, you prefer one. And for me, it's the Portuguese. The watch wears easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It's not as broad as I expected across the wrist, only 50.2 millimeters. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters in circumference. It's not a thick watch, 14.3 with a bit of a concave bezel. It will slide underneath the dress cuff, so no problems there. 42.3 millimeters in diameter. The watch has a wonderful integration of lug and case band that makes it look much like the other Art Deco inspired watch of its era, the form follows function Calatrava, then known as the Patek Philippe 96. But whereas the Patek Philippe 96 was a 30 millimeter watch, the Portuguese has always ever been large. Now I'm going to gather up the strap and the buckle and show you some of the details here, because the strap is nicely spaced out. At 22 millimeters, the watch has a modern footing on the wrist. 22 looks proportional to the case, yes, but a broad stance on the wrist is one of the hallmarks of modern case design. The lug spacing 22, fitting a Santoni leather strap. Santoni, Italian straps, as you can see with their signal orange signature on the underside. It's not visible when the watch is on the wrist. The supplier of OEM straps to IWC these days, with a lovely bit of a gradient fade from black to brown on the alligator leather at the top. You could see that the clasp itself is nicely made. It's frosted inside, it's satin finished on the outside, and then it has polished elements to contrast, so it's a triple finished clasp and quite secure. There's also a lot of metal here, so it nicely counterweights this heavy watch when it's on the wrist. I mentioned that the watch has integrated lugs. The idea of form following function was very Bauhaus design back in the 1930s. There's a little bit of an Art Deco to this watch too, but it's more evident on the dial than the case. So you've got the integration of case and lug, which is a highly modern look, still germane to dress watch design. Take a look at an FP Journe today and you can see the root of that kind of case design. Polished and satin, you can see the case band is relatively narrow and it's defined by the horizontal satin finish and the junction with the polished case back and the bezel. The bezel is concave to visually pair the mass of the watch, and it works effectively. As ever with the Portuguese, the bezel is narrow, giving most of the geography of the case over to the dial. So it's a silver halo surrounding a silver matte finished dial. The numerals and indices are hand applied, and you can see they're a wonderful rose gold on silver. This is two-tone that I can embrace. I like it when the second tone, the gold specifically, is on the dial of the watch rather than as a case or bracelet component. Slightly sunken sub-registers, nicely balanced one across from the other. If you split the watch down the center, it has a lovely bilateral symmetry. Just one shock of red for the 7-day power reserve. A nice elegant facet for the jump down from the dial plane to the date disc. You can see how that's a stepped break, not a straight cut. And of course you have a little railroad track for the constant seconds with a macro railroad track outboard for the minutes. The hands are lovely leaf or foil style, and here's where you see the Art Deco elements of the watch in the font of the numerals used, as well as the foil or leaf style hands. Turning the watch over, you can see IWC manufacture caliber 52010. Now this was new for 2015. It was the first ever use of a twin mainspring barrel arrangement on IWC's 50,000 series. Since the arrival of this movement as the 5000 and 2000, it had had issues with running rate. When fully wound, it would run too quickly, sometimes as fast as 15 seconds per day, and when almost discharged, it would run too slowly, sometimes losing 15 to 20 seconds per day. If you go on the IWC Collectors Forum, you can find Richard Hobring's old comments on this phenomenon. He posted as tourbillon, but the bottom line is that the watch had rate issues, and with the twin mainspring barrels, that has finally been addressed with a very even torque release and thus an even run rate from max wind to minimum wind across the full 168-hour power reserve. There is a quick set date function as well as hacking seconds, 30 meters water resistant, 31 joules, adjusted in a chronometer-like 5 positions. You can see the balance features an overcoil hairspring to help it keep excellent time in those 5 adjusted positions, and it's a free-sprung architecture, so it's a very shock-resistant movement. It has the IWC ceramic peloton system, so it's the pawl-based bidirectional peloton winding system, but now you can see black ceramic pawls and wheels, so the old dirt on the movement problem has been solved. This operates unlubricated, so there are no sediments. Finally, for 2015, the beat rate was stepped up from 21.6 to 28.8, so it's now a high beat watch with a deluxe 7-day power reserve. It is the full package. IWC inside and out, and one of the great model lines of Schaffhausen. See it and make it yours on the watch box.